Hey everybody, welcome back to Bethenaeum. My name is Ellie Marie and today we're going to talk about 4 different types of writing. Alright, so I thought since my channel is moving away from NaNoWriMo now that it's over, I thought December would be a good time to get a base starting point for what the rest of the content on this channel is going to look like. And since I will be looking at different kinds of writing and different kinds of things involved in the reading writing sphere, I thought that one of the first videos I should do is on 4 basic types of writing and the types of writing you will be seeing me talk about as the channel grows. So the first type of writing is fiction writing. Now that one is pretty obvious since I've already done NaNoWriMo on this page. Fiction writing is a very broad genre. It can be broken down into more genres and then more subgenres. It is a very, very wide range of genre. And for those of you who don't know the basic definition of fiction writing, it is things that aren't real, things that are not actual in their events. They can be based on true events, but generally fiction writing is things that are not true and things that are not based in reality. So things like fantasy, westerns, mysteries, historical romance, all of those kind of really popular genres, those all fall under fiction. And for most of the people who write during NaNoWriMo, fiction is primarily what is written. You can write in our next writing style for NaNoWriMo, but it is far less common. And that's a nice segue into our second writing type, and that is nonfiction. Now, nonfiction is going to be the opposite of fiction. That's kind of how I've always looked at it. Nonfiction is going to be stuff that is real or that is based in reality. So information books about like planes or cars or, even like automotive manuals, those are all considered nonfiction. If you go to find like a history book, that's going to be nonfiction. Most biographies are nonfiction. Most autobiographies are nonfiction. And the majority of like reference materials and things of that nature are nonfiction. Now, while nonfiction seems like a less exciting avenue for writing, it is still a very valid and needed form of writing. I know most writers like to write in the fiction realm, although I have some friends that primarily they write nonfiction. And actually I have a friend right now who primarily in the past has really only written nonfiction and is working on a fiction piece, and he's kind of having his own fair share of problems switching from one to the other. And that's fair, and it's very understandable why you would struggle switching from one to the other or back and forth. And they're different. They're very different. The kind of content you would put into them is different. The time you would put into them is different. And just the development of them is very, very different. And so they're different, but they're both major genres and major types of writing that a lot of writers put time into both at some point in their careers. And writing type number 3 is the dreaded poetry. That is one that a lot of people struggle with. There's a lot of people who write poetry, but there's a lot of people who struggle with the idea of writing poetry. And while poetry itself can fall under either fiction or nonfiction writing, poetry tends to be its own separate kind of writing, and therefore it is a separate style of writing, because you're not going to write a fiction poem the same way you would write a fiction novel or even a fiction short story. And a nonfiction poem is not going to be written the same way you would write another nonfiction piece of work. And so it's different. Poetry is its own writing style, its own genre, and it takes either skill. Some people have very natural skill in writing poetry, and other people need to just practice in writing poetry. Poetry is something that I advocate for very much, and you will see that a lot on this channel, because I feel as though it is not only good writing practice to practice poetry if you are a writer of other types and other genres. I feel as though poetry is beneficial for everybody, whether or not you write. It is a very, very human type of writing, and it connects very, very deeply both with emotions and mental and spiritual states, and it's an amazing way to engage with your fellow humanity. And I love poetry, and you'll see a lot of engagement with that on my channel. And then our fourth and final writing type is academic writing. Now, while academic writing does technically fall under nonfiction writing, it is a different style of writing. You are not going to write a manual the same way you would write an essay. And so one of the things that I do want to focus on this channel is helping those who are working on academic writing. We are actually next month, the month of January, going to be focusing on academic writing, and I will actually be working on putting together a short PDF that I can give out to people that will help with writing academic research papers or literary analysis and that sort of thing, because a lot of people struggle with how to write a good academic paper, especially if you're just starting in college or if you're just starting to take higher level classes in high school. It can be very difficult to know how to write a good and structure a good research paper. So we are going to talk a little bit about academic writing next month, and academic writing is going to be a focus, much like poetry, fiction, and nonfiction are all going to be focused here on this blog, because I feel like academic writing is important and it is often something overlooked by the writing community, even though it is a very widely needed writing type for most people. And that's all I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that it can help to start a base layer from where our channel will be going and what kind of content you can look forward to be seeing in the next year or so. I hope that this goes for at least a year, if not longer. And as always, I would like to ask you to take a moment to subscribe and ring that little bell if you haven't yet already, if you like what you have seen so far. And if you are interested in checking out our NaNoWriMo Chronicles playlist and other videos, please go ahead and click on the link to that and to take a look at those. That was a primary portion of my content prior to now, and I hope that you enjoy that as well. And as always, I would like to tell you thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate every one of you. Bye.